Okay, we're going to be looking at the 10 lessons for level 2 in our core curriculum right now, which is the old style Highland broadsword. It's basically the style of swordsmanship that would have been used by stage gladiators and prize fighters in the early half of the 18th century. So when we say old style, we mean about 50 years older than the other styles. Not necessarily that old, we're not really sure. So we're going to actually be teaching the lessons to Seth, who has had some exposure to this style, but does not actually know this set of lessons. So the first thing that we're going to do is called taking up the sword. It's a little bit different than slope swords in the regimental style. You put the flat of the blade on your left shoulder like that. And when you get ready to come on guard, what you do is your left hand pushes the basket up. You take the sword in your hand and drop into an inside guard like that. Now, one thing you'll notice right away is the left hand doesn't stay on the hip. I put it up by my face. The biggest complexity in actually learning how to do the old style correctly is coordinating the movement of the left hand with the rest of your body. Every time that we're standing in second footwork position or narrow, the left hand needs to be up, either beside your face or behind like that. And every time we're standing in fourth footwork position or wide, the left hand needs to be down at your hip. So here, 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 here. And it's difficult for people to remember to do that while they're moving around and doing a lot of other stuff and fighting and whatnot. Really, nobody does it perfectly, but the more you work on it, the better it'll be. So the first of the 10 lessons, we're going to get in a hanging guard in the fourth position. So fourth footwork position, your feet are you're standing almost square to your opponent. Your feet are about as far apart as the width between your shoulders, maybe a little bit more. And the right foot is advanced slightly ahead of the left. We're calling that the fourth position. Okay, and can you see his feet there? Okay. So now the hanging guard is a little different than the regimental hanging guard. Regimental hanging guard, we usually do that with the arm fully extended. But in the old style hanging guard, the arm is so now we're both in the hanging guard, and this is pretty much the same concept as in the regimental lesson one. He's going to try to cut at my legs, and when he goes to cut my legs, I basically do a shift and counter, but it's slightly more complicated than that, because look at the movement solo. My right foot goes to my left foot just like the shift, and I cut down on his arm, but I also twist a little bit to the right. So it's a little bit more sophisticated a movement than just a shift and counter. This is called an inside slip. It comes from the work of Thomas Page. He portrays it in a slightly different context, but it's the same technique. So hanging guard, and yeah, like that. So when you go to make the cut to my legs, you step into second position, and your left hand should come up to your face. And I do the counter and cut down onto his hand, and that allows me to simultaneously hit him when he tries to go for my legs, same as in the regimental stuff. Now we're going to switch sides. He's going to try it. Okay. I'm going to step into second position and go to cut his legs. And he does the inside slip. And you should be able to see that he's angled in slightly this way. It's not a huge twist, but just a little bit twist inward. All right, that's lesson 1. Okay, so now we're going to look at lesson 2 of the old style core curriculum. So we're going to be standing in the fourth footwork position again. We're going to be in the outside guard. Seth is going to step to second position and cut to my inside high. I step to second position and parry on an inside guard. Then I traverse to fourth position and cut forward. And it's going to strike him either on the arm or the body. Where it actually hits him is kind of depends on the situation. So with a little bit more speed. Now Seth is going to try the same technique. I'm going to cut at his left cheek. He's going to step in and parry. Then he's going to traverse off the line and cut me with cut 4. This technique illustrates how the traversing circular footwork of the old style opens lines so that you are able to strike the opponent. It's not always as simple as that in a real bout. I mean, you'd kind of be lucky to get that clear an opportunity, but very frequently in an actual bout you will get a touch on the opponent by completing a traverse. So say you might do this, and then that, or this, and then that. But it's the traverse off line a lot of times that opens up the line and gives you the attack. Now, looking at lesson 3, we're in the inside guard, which is in the second forward position, or narrow. And he is going to cut 2, and I'm going to parry. And then I traverse back into a second position and cut 3. And that should strike his arm underneath most of the time. If it happens to strike somewhere else, he's still coming. So, we're in the inside guard, and if parry, cut. And again, you're taking advantage of the traversing footwork to get the opportunity to hit. Now he's going to try it. Okay, next is the lift and pommel, which you also saw in the regimental version of the 10 lessons. So again, we are in the hanging guard, 4th footwork position. He steps forward and does a cut to my head. I step in, parry on St. George. I grab his wrist, step forward so that I can trip him, and then as I'm tripping him, I punch him repeatedly in the face with the basket. So with a little bit more speed. And same as with the regimental lessons, what you're looking for here anytime you apply the lift is that action of grabbing his wrist and pushing it up should actually cause his spinal cord to arc. And it's when his center line is broken that way it becomes difficult or impossible for him to escape. Alright, now he's going to try it. Hanging guard in 4th. And when I attack, you step forward and parry. And apply the lift. And also trip me. Yep, that's good. Alright, so you really want his ability to defend himself to be compromised in several different ways at once. So you're punching him with the basket, you're lifting his wrist up, which arcs his spinal cord, and you're also tripping him with your left foot, all at the same time. Okay, next, lesson would be lesson 5. It'll be on the outside guard in 4th position. And it's going to be a Turkish disarm. That comes in with a cut 1. I step in and parry. I hook my pommel over his wrist. I pass forward, push him offline, and the act of pushing him offline is what we call a bind, and it twists up his spinal cord, which again makes it very difficult for him to do anything to defend himself. And then I can either finish him with a surrender or I can finish him off with a thrust. It doesn't have to be a thrust when you're using this technique. You can also circle the blade over your head and cut him from behind, which is typically the way you do it with sword and targe. But normally with single sword, we usually demonstrate that one at the front. So one more time. Now he's going to try it. A little more distance. Okay. I go for the cut. He steps in and parries. And he binds. And you can see from looking at it from this angle how twisted up I am and how impossible it would be for me to do anything to get out of this.